Hey, good morning, everyone. So I wanted to hop on today and make a quick video kind of going through a trade I took this morning on the SP500. Um, so as you know, this week we started off, pretty bearish, with let me zoom out here to the H1. So this is Monday's price action over here. As you can see, like Sunday night, we went up. We had this weekly open gap. We sold off all day, pretty much Monday. Went into consolidation overnight. Tuesday was kind of a sideways day. I got chopped up a little bit on Tuesday. There were still some smaller, opportunities there. But I got chopped around a little bit. It wasn't, as clean for me in my, novice skill set. But you can see Tuesday we took, Monday's low, went back up into a above the buy side here, sold off again. And then, so going into yesterday's price action where I caught a few moves, we had this low. We went below it in the London session and then started rallying higher throughout the day. Ultimately, coming in and having this high and this high left intact. So this was kind of like my thinking where the weekly low might be forming, because I've been anticipating basically my bias for the week was, and granted I did not expect it to come down this low, but looking at the daily now, I kind of see, let me turn these executions off for a second. They're kind of cluttering up the chart. And I shared this on Telegram this morning. So as you can see here, last week we took the buy side liquidity above this purple dotted line here. Those were weekly relative equal highs. And then we came down, and then yesterday, we dipped below these equal lows here. We just whipped below it and then rejected. So we took buy side, we took sell side. So the next logical thing is price would start seeking a premium to sell. And so we start looking for, since I'm not expecting right now, I don't think price is going to break this. I have no reason to think price is going to break that to go for external range liquidity. I begin looking inside of this range here for internal liquidity. So the first thing I do is I look for equilibrium, which is 42.1925. So my bias is price is at least going to come to 42.1925. And as you can see, we kind of have like this gap in here on the daily where there's only like this wick, and we kind of had a similar thing here. And you can see like price went up and kind of hesitated there and rejected off of it and then gapped down. So so this is definitely, plus it's the previous week low, and there's the weekly open gap there, as we'll, so this is a strong level that it's like a magnet that's just going to draw price up to it. So even though, price has been bearish, we can basically trade bullish back up into this level and then kind of see what price wants to do from there. It could either keep going, or it could, set up to go lower for another expansion back below this low. So let's go ahead and drop to the 15-minute time frame. So we entered today with a bullish bias. You see, these were my positions from yesterday that both overnight would have hit full TP. So basically, as usual, I start out marking the Asia low, the Asia high, the previous day high, so we have these two previous day high. So we see, and then I look to see, because I'm not awake during London, so I always look to see what London did. So London starts here. As you can see, we were already above the Asia high before London even started. We had already taken the Asia high, the previous day high, and the previous day before that's high. So it's like price is wanting to move. We didn't get a retracement during London. We just got this small little dip down into this 5-minute fair value gap here. And then price just took off higher. So this kind of, not gonna lie, this kind of had me a little worried that, like, okay, like, we already had this big bullish expansion during London, so New York might not even give me a retracement. It might even keep going. Or, because to buy, I would want price to come down below the London low, obviously. But if it breaks that and then retraces back up, I was being mindful of the fact that we could be reversing from here to go lower. And, so, but keeping the higher time frame analysis in mind, that I'm bullish up into that weekly open gap again is where I'm looking, and into the equilibrium of that, like last range for the last like 7 days. So I'm bullish up into that level. So keeping that in mind, trying to push the sell, not to say you can't find sells in this price action, even though you're bullish for the day. As you can see, like, kind of a hindsight one here, as I was kind of looking like, okay, if I'm expecting price to come down here, there was a possible little sell opportunity right here that would have went for 3R. I didn't take that. It was, hindsight. But so anyways, not to get distracted. So London went up, consolidated, and started retracing back down. So it filled back in this gap. Okay. And then we kind of consolidated, went up a little bit, So 8:30 came and price broke lower and went into this fair value gap. We broke the London low. So this is kind of, and this is why I drew this fair value gap, is I was kind of like, I could see price, kind of reject from here. I was aware that it could do that, but typically, again, I wanted price below the London low, but I also was looking at this line here, which is the New York Midnight Open. So I ideally would want price below that also. To be an open, low, high, close. So we had the open, we went up for, this move, we came back down, and right now this is the low of the day. So open, low, high should break the London high, and then we could close, retrace back into the range a little bit. So that's the framework for the day. And then the Asian range, since we didn't get a retracement into the Asia range, I marked off this fair value gap, which is where this kind of bullish expansion broke above this high. And it's also, if we look at, it's right pretty much smack dab equilibrium for the Asia range. So this 15-minute fair value gap was key to me, as I was like, I could really see price come down there. That looks like a great spot to enter. And I kind of set the limit at equilibrium of that, which is this limit that I ended up setting. But I didn't set it until closer to like 9:30. Because in reality, what I wanted, which I'll go ahead and drop down to the 5-minute time frame, is I wanted to see price come down here, form, a market structure, like do a low, break the low, break a swing high, come back, and then, so I wanted to see that market structure shift bullish happen down here. Because then I figured I could get like the tightest entry possible. But with how bullish we were in the London session, and just, I went ahead and set the limit based on the 15-minute fair value gap. And as you can see, I put the stop loss below the Asian low plus 4 ticks to give it a little bit of breathing room, just in case price wanted to come down and sweep that or tap into this order block or something like that. So it was a wider, I generally don't like to enter off the 15-minute. I like to try to get it down to at least the 5. But I set that limit, and then I was like, I'll watch to see what it does when I get down there, and if I want to, stack on an extra contract with a tighter entry, maybe I'll do that. But I'm glad I set the limit, because, it kind of came down here and, only played around for, 20 minutes, and then it was gone. And I was watching, I typically step down like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 minute time frames. And as you can see, like when it triggered my 15-minute limit, I was like, okay, let's see if I can maybe scale onto it. And it never really, like we had a low, we had a high, and then it kind of, but it never really like gave me a fair value, like left a fair value gap behind. We had the low, we broke above that, we came back down. Like there was a small fair value gap here. But I just didn't, none of it really stood out to me. Then there was this one here. So, I mean, there were possibilities, but I didn't, like, unless it was obvious to me, I didn't want to jump in. So I entered equilibrium of the 15-minute fair value gap. Price stabbed into it pretty much right at 9:30. We got this big bearish push down, and then it basically just, ran away from that. I'm going to turn the executions back on real quick. So obviously my full take profit that I'm forecasting, for today is to break above the London high plus 4 ticks. Would be the ideal. That puts me just at about a 5R. But as you can see, so my entry got triggered in at 41.49.75. I took my first partial on this candle at 41.61.75. So pretty much right here at these relative equal highs. Trying to be, and it was basically like 1-to-1 too. I think it was a little over that, but being mindful of like, yes, even though I had, trust in my bias and everything like that, I mean, this is an area of liquidity, these relative equal highs. Like there's nothing saying price couldn't have went up, stabbed through that, and then rolled back over to the downside. So I took my first partial there. It was only 2 contracts. As you can see, I only put on 2 contracts. So I took one off there, and then price continued to rally. And then my next spot was here. So you see that I took 41.73, which is basically right above that high. And again, like, look here, this London consolidation, there's a fair value gap right here that got tapped into. That could have been another, I don't enter between 7 and 8:30, but, that's another bearish entry. Like, so there's nothing saying that price couldn't have just tapped into that and rolled over. Especially we have the Jackson Hole Symposium going on today and tomorrow. That's a red folder news event that's kind of going on throughout the day. So there's nothing saying that price is going to do what I expect it to do. And, I recognize I'm still very new to this and still just kind of getting my feet under me in terms of consistency and establishing daily bias. So, I'm not demanding the market give me what I'm expecting it to do. The market's going to do whatever it's going to do. I'm trying to learn and practice, get in, take your piece, take pieces off in areas of liquidity, just in case it does reverse, and, try to leave, a portion running if you can, since I only took 2 contracts on this, had I had a third contract, I would still be letting it run for the London high, or at least maybe to like here, or 41.80 or, something like, I would be trying to hold it for the full profit. And actually here it kind of looks like we might have been able to get another little entry for that final push. But yeah, so, kind of take my pieces off where it makes sense. When it runs above highs, those are areas that, the market can retrace from that, in search of sell side liquidity. So it's a great target or a great entry today. There was only, 41.49.75. There was 2.25. So 9 ticks of drawdown. 9 ticks out of 31. So not a bad, not too much heat that I had to endure on that one in terms of drawdown. And really, so I got triggered in at 9:30. I was out of the trade by 10 o'clock. So 30 minutes. I can pull up the paper trading. 2 trades today, 825. You know, you can see I made about $1,762 on those on that trade today so far. So, you know, not chasing a specific percentage. I'm basically only using like a contract or two per trade right now while I'm still kind of building consistency. You know, eventually once I am consistent and I'm confident in my consistency, then I will be going more towards like risking a set percentage per trade. But right now I'm just kind of throwing a contract or two. I like to do 2, like I said, so I can practice like taking partials and stuff like that. But yeah, so that's kind of what I got for today, at least for the morning session. I'm getting ready to head to the gym and stuff. So, you know, I'm obviously I'm out of this trade now, so I'm pretty much done for the morning session. Let me check. I don't remember if we have news for the afternoon. We have an orange folder at 1:20 p.m., which is about the time the PM session kill zone starts. And then, like I said, we have the red folder Jackson Hole Symposium going on all day. So, you know, as there's like press conferences and things from that, you know, that could spike price around if something, you know, unexpected comes out of that. So being mindful of that. But yeah, it was a good day. Yesterday was a good day. So not trying to really force anything. And then so I'll see what the PM session looks like. And then I'll obviously be back on the charts for tomorrow morning as well. I'm posting updates regularly to my Telegram channel. So I'm going to pull that up real quick and just... So, I mean, as you can see, like, you know, I've been posting throughout the morning on here. Since I only make videos like once every day or so, you know, when I have a particularly good trade to break down or something like that. But I'm a lot more active on Telegram, like doing updates, kind of saying what I'm looking for, how my bias for the week is changing, stuff like that. So if you haven't subscribed to this channel, you know, and you like these videos, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. You know, I'm trying to, you know, keep this channel going, and it's mostly, like I said, this channel I'm mostly doing for my own kind of study and kind of talking out loud through my trades and my process and stuff to kind of help me reinforce what I'm learning. But, you know, the added benefit of that is I hope that other people get insight from this, and, you know, I can connect with, you know, fellow traders on their journeys, and we can all kind of learn and stuff together. And, you know, obviously if someone that's more seasoned with ICT concepts comes across these videos and wants and sees that I'm doing something wrong, or I'm using a PD array wrong or something, or has, you know, insight or feedback, I would love that also. So yeah, so if you like these videos, go ahead and hit the subscribe button for the YouTube channel. Also, I have the link to my Telegram channel in the description for this video. So go ahead and check that out if you want to be a bit more plugged into what I've got going on throughout the day. But yeah, so I might be posting some stuff for the PM session. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, so until I talk to you again, enjoy the rest of your day, stay safe, and happy trading. Thanks.